Oh my God, we are live! Welcome, everybody. This is Instant Insights Live, the show where we answer all of your astrology questions. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe and that like button and the bell button to be notified whenever we post any new content. We pretty much have a new astrology video coming out every day of the week. So if you love astrology, this is the place for you, and welcome. All right, so today we're answering all your questions about the Venus retrograde. Ever since we started doing the Instant Insights Live, that's pretty much the biggest trends that people are really asking about. Like, what is the Venus retrograde about? Like, how does it interact in my chart? Today is the day to get all of those answers figured out. All right, and with me today I have Jaime Goldstein, and I have Nura Rachelle, two amazing astrologers. And usually I tell you a little bit about them, but last time I did this, I let one of their clients tell you a little bit about them, and you guys seem to really like it. So I'm gonna read two testimonials that came through Astrologer Connect for Jaime Goldstein and Nura Rachelle, so you can get to know a little bit about their astrology style. So this one came in for Nura. And the client says, I feel truly seen for the first time and grateful for the opportunity to connect with Nura. She took great care of me, gave so much needed information and tools. I'm not sure where else you can get this kind of validation and the sense of being exactly where you are meant to be. I have this spark I didn't even know I had before. I feel renewed and ready for what is ahead. Thank you, Nura. I could just feel your warmth. You have pushed me closer to me. I needed that so badly. This was just meant to be, and you are changing lives. I truly love this community. Aw. How does that feel, Nura? Is that a good reflection of what you do in your readings?
I really hope so. I mean, that's what I'm going for. So it's nice to be also seen and met in that way. I'm so glad it's received well.
Oh, I love that. And this one came from Jaime. And honestly, Jamie's testimonials are my favorite because your clients are always so poetic. It's the best. So this one came through and she says, my reading with Jaime was absolutely phenomenal. Jaime was incredible and answered all my questions that I came to the call with. My reading totally surpassed my expectations, and I was truly blown away with the insights I received. I will definitely rebook with her again. Her reading is going to help me immensely during my time of transition and my life in general. I'm so grateful for this service. Oh, how does that feel, Jaime?
Oh, it feels so good to receive. And I mean, this is why I'm here. This is why I love offering astrology readings. So it warms my heart. Thank you.
Oh, nice. Awesome. All right, guys. So, just a little bit of information for anyone who's new. The way to send in your questions, there's a few different ways. You can go to astrologyhub.com/insight. You can see it traveling down the screen right now. That's the best way to send in your questions. There's a form. You get to record you asking your question personally to the astrologer, and we make sure that we send it to them before we get on, so they really get to sit with your chart. So it's a better way for them. It's a better way for you. It's a better way for everybody. So if you have a question, always go through the form first. And again, it's astrologyhub.com/insight. But if you didn't do that, you can still send in your questions in the comments. Just please make sure that you add your date of birth, the time, and the location, as well as your question. Because sometimes I see you guys sending your birth data, but you don't send your question, and it's really hard for us to know how we can help you. So the question is super, super necessary. And today we're also focusing on Venus retrograde, so I will be prioritizing any questions about that. All right, I think that's all of the logistics. And before we answer the featured question that we selected, I did have a question for both of you, Jaime and Nora. Like, how are you preparing for the Venus retrograde, and what do you interpret the Venus retrograde to be?
Well, so just to kind of tune in for what the Venus retrograde is, I really look at them as the ending and beginning of a grander 19-month Venus cycle. So they are these times of endings and beginnings, and we may see some endings and beginnings around things related to Venus. So relationship, maybe things around, projects that are connected to our finances, creative energy, creative projects. But there's a deeper element of it as well. We're kind of going through an ending and beginning of how we relate, because Venus is all about relating to our lives and the world and people around us based on our relationship with our self-worth and our self-value. We're often reorienting our values. Retrogrades are so about reorientation. So reorienting our values, things around relationship, things around self-worth, things of matters of the heart. It can be a time to get really clear on what are the values of our heart, the desires of our heart. And they're very much energetic. Like when a planet goes retrograde, the energy becomes more yin and inward. And we're clearing out energetic blockages around that time as well. So sometimes an old relationship comes around. It doesn't mean that it's time to, like marry this person and commit to this person forever, because sometimes it's just a reflection to revisit, where were we within ourselves when we were in that relationship in the past? And now we get to kind of reflect on that and start anew. So yeah.
I love that.
Awesome.
I'm in a pretty similar place as well, where I just allow things to die, essentially. Especially because I view Venus as central to our magnetism, our resonance, our creative initiation journey. That's pretty much how I relate with Venus, because our creativity, it involves relationships, it involves resources and everything that we're attracting. So to me, it's bundled up all into one thing. It's our creative initiation journey. So since I am a creator, since I spend so much of my time creating things, creating programs and content, and I love it, I'm actually allowing myself to chill a little bit so that I can allow things to compost and regenerate within myself. And because when we give ourselves that time, it's similar to an inner winter where we get to receive what we need, especially because Venus is about our magnetic qualities, our frequencies, our resonance. It's about what we're able to receive. So I need to go inside and check in with my values and check in with, okay, is there a new download of what I'm creating? And therefore, do I need to receive something differently? Do I need to receive more or less of something? So I'm kind of clearing out my calendar in a lot of ways. I'm taking just a little bit of time off to be with my family and things like that, to have fun, really, because Venus in Leo, come on, like we need to have some fun, like especially after the past few years. I'm really just trying to get to that place where I can be in the present moment and be so with whoever I'm engaging with. And it requires a little bit of less is more, a little bit more simplicity, and almost like space to let the adventure happen. I will also say that you'll notice I'm wearing yellow, gold, and amber, and that's another way that I love to prepare for working with certain planets, the sympathetic magic, practical magic of connecting with the colors. So there's a lot of easy, fun ways too. I've been eating a lot of mangoes and things like that since Venus has entered Leo. So it can be really easy and it can be really fun.
Yeah, that's why I have my green light on today too, because green is one of Venus's colors. I'm like, I'll try it. Awesome, thank you so much. And I do see a lot of questions about people with Venus in Leo. Like they have Venus in Leo in their natal chart. What would you say is different? Would you say that the Venus retrograde becomes more important or becomes different for people with Venus in Leo? Or would you say it's almost the same? It depends on the whole chart.
Yeah, I feel like if you have Venus in Leo, particularly in these critical degrees where the retrograde is 28 to 12 Leo, but if you have her anywhere in Leo, your Venus return there's more of an activation here. So if your Venus is in Leo, you're probably going to be feeling this retrograde pretty strongly in your life.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then especially if it's your whole Venus cycle return, I get to be witness to that, to both my husband and my daughter. They're both born in the same cycle. So I get to watch the show.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. So with that overview of what the Venus retrograde is, I think we're ready for our first question. Is that right? Awesome. All right. So this one came in from Julie. Let me just grab it for y'all.
Hello, Nura. Hello, Jamie. Hello, Hannah. I'm Julie. I would really love if you could take a look at my chart for this Venus retrograde, as it's quite pertinent to my chart, and I'm in a first house perfection year and an important Venus year as well. I've been trying to restart my career since 2018, but I've been met with accidents and dramas and surprises, and it just feels like things are just starting to move on all three of my big loves. And my big loves are astrology, reflexology, and my craft work. I just wondered, can you see if I should focus on anything in particular, or anything you can see in particular about timing and focus? I do hope to move to community in the next couple of years. It could be any time at all, so there's that as well. And I will be taking my three big loves with me. But yeah, I really appreciate all of you so much. I'm so grateful for everybody and everything, and I send my big love to the whole Ohana. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Oh my God. And just as I was playing this, I see Julie Woolley in the comments, and I'm now wondering if you're the same Julie. Because for you guys who have been here every episode, Julie is always here, and it's always nice to have her in the comments. So I'm glad that if it's you, that we're answering your question now. All right, so Jamie, would you like to get us started?
Yeah, I would love to. Hi, Julie. It's just so lovely to connect with you. And if this is the same Julie that's here, we were pulling up your chart before, and the town wasn't pulling up for us in the chart software. So I found the longitude and latitude, and I found the town nearby to make sure. So I have you as a Leo rising. So if that doesn't sound right for some reason, please let us know in the chat here. But I'm going to kind of interpret this based on whole signs, house system. I work really intuitively. And so that's what I'm drawn to in this moment. But just to bring in some context, you shared that since about 2018, you've had all these, obstacles and slowdowns to really move forward with what feels like, your sole purpose, your passion, and you're a passionate person with a Leo rising. You're here to express yourself from your heart and to shine your light and share your gifts out to the world. And in 2018, I just noticed Pluto was right on your Mars in Capricorn, and whole signs wise, that is in your sixth house here. So, that makes sense. Instead of about 2018, Mars, our outward directed energy, how we go for what we want in life, how we go for what we're passionate about, that there may have been some slowdown and perhaps a death and rebirth around how you go for what you want in life and exert your energy out. And, there's been a few other transits, particularly, last year you were in a 12th house year. You're now in a first house year. So there's this fresh breath of energy. But when you're in a 12th house year, I'm in that right now, there can be a slowdown and kind of a pullback from the world and retreat and, working through a lot of karmic things as well to kind of open us up to the new cycle. But what I want to, just share about this Venus and this Venus Leo retrograde is really powerful because you are a Leo rising. So this Venus retrograde is moving through your first house. And so this is essentially a reorientation of how you relate to yourself to get to, as we're moving into this new Venus and Leo cycle that starts when Venus meets the sun at 20 degrees of Leo on August 13th. And then about a week later, she'll rise as morning star in Leo. And there's going to be this 19-month journey you're going to go on with bringing your authentic essence out into the world, bringing your creativity out into the world, bringing your heart-centered expression, because Venus in a Leo cycle, which will be a 19-month cycle, this is very much activating our inner creatrix, activating our creativity and how we are magical co-creators of life around us. And yeah, so just one other thing I want to share real quick here is that the Venus star point at 20 Leo is trining your midheaven and your Chiron that are here in Aries. And Chiron is like right on your midheaven coming to your Chiron. So I see this as a huge activation of your creative healing gifts.
Oh, I didn't realize I was muted. I said, sweet, that was great. Thank you, Jamie.
Yeah.
And Julie, please let us know if how that's resonating. Oh, and I think she just said something. She's from my ascendant degree to my opposite my sun. I think that's talking about Pluto, maybe?
That's Venus.
Oh, Venus. Oh, there you go. And Julie says, wow. All right, Nura, do you have anything to add?
I do. So, Julie, you would be just coming out of your whole, every year you have a full-on Venus cycle return. So you're born into the Aquarius/Capricorn Venus cycle. And so for one, community is really important for you. There's a big calling for you to be connecting always increasingly more with your creative community, and especially with that Aquarius energy in your 7th house. It would appear you're here to both be part of something that you can grow with a group of people, to belong to something and co-create together. So that's really important. I'm really glad that you're doing that. And I would say the best way to work with this is when you're in the underworld part of the journey, really ask yourself, well, what is being released from your space? There's a huge letting go. It's a letting go for something new to come in. And because it's in the self, it might be very physical. It might be very much in your body. What is your body telling you about how to make decisions? It does seem that this might be a huge year and a half for you to understand more about your body, yes, and your body, no. So getting super clear on what that is. I would also say that with the shift, you might start to find that the downloads that came in for you over the past year and a half while we've been in the Capricorn cycle, maybe they gave you the scaffolding. That's usually how it works when we're in our actual return. Like we tend to think like, oh, I'm getting the creative downloads. So this, my Venus cycle is going to be the year that I make the thing. But usually we start to see the blossoming a few years after our exact Venus cycle return, because it's similar to that new moon energy where the seed is being planted. So look back over the past couple years of what has that Capricorn cycle been planting for you, and what structures have already been created, and now is maybe you've constructed something like a stage for yourself to now go stand on, to now go express yourself boldly. There's definitely an invitation to ask for more, and that might be just more space for people to hear you. And there's a lot of emphasis around replenishment. So personal healing. 20 degrees is associated with Scorpio in degree theory by Nikola Stoyanovich. And so that 20 degrees Scorpio undertone is bringing in a lot of transformation. It's the transformation of the heart. It's the transformation of the crown. It's transformation of the solar plexus, all of these sort of Leo centers in the body, but most importantly, the heart. Really pay attention to your body language and like, how does something make you go like this? Right? Then you get to do some work around that, versus if you naturally feel pretty bold and confident when you're making that decision and your heart is open, even just observing those cues can make the decision-making process feel hopefully a little bit more aligned.
Awesome. That is all great advice. And Julie also says that everything has been 100% resonant so far. So thank you, Julie, for sending in the question. And if you have anything, she says, yes, 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 I have shivers, Nura. Aw, that's so sweet. Thank you so much, Julie and Jamie and Nora, for the great insights. All right. Are we ready to move on to the next question? Awesome. So I'm just gonna allow Jamie and Nura some time to cast the new chart that was just placed on the private chat that we have going on. And in the meanwhile, while they're casting those charts, I just wanted to take some time to let you know about what's happening next week. For those of you who are not familiar with it already, Instant Insights Live is actually a counterpart to a function on Astrologer Connect, which is the Instant Insights. And just this week, we're about to have a very special week called the Instant Insights Week, where from anytime from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, there will always be an astrologer live on the platform. So you just go to astrologyhub.com/connect, and you'll be able to see an astrologer with their green light on. If you see that happening, it means that you can actually call them like right on the moment, which is why it's called Instant Insights. And the reason why we're doing that too is to really get you guys to know the value of having those like in the moment readings, because sometimes I think that people tend to think about readings as this like very sort of heavy thing that you really have to do a lot of preparation, but sometimes you just need that one quick question or that one quick answer from an astrologer, and we're fully staffing the platform to make that possible for you. And the good news is too that any readings, any instant readings happening in that week, so from Monday, June 19th to June 20, let me make sure what the day is. From June 19th to June 25th, any instant readings happening in that time will have the first 5 minutes for free. So if you have a question, I see tons of questions coming in the comments right now that could be answered in less than 5 minutes. You're in luck because you can get it for free, essentially. All right, so with that out of the way, and again, you can see the little link walking across the screen. It's astrologyhub.com/connect for anyone who missed that call out. All right, so with that, let's get to our next question. Are you ready? Sweet. So this one came in really early, right before we started, from Nicole Dragon. And Nicole asks, how do I approach 10th house and 9th house activity with Venus retrograde there? Is this a time to be more reflective about what I value and how I express myself? And she gives us her birth information as well. And who would like to get us started with this question? Nura, Jamie? Who's feeling it?
I can go here. So Nicole, I have you as a 10 degree Scorpio rising, and I can see that you're using like a quadrant based house system. So I have your chart here and porphyry. Now, one thing I just really want to know is what I feel really excited for you is your midheaven is 20 degrees of Leo. And this is where the Venus star point is. This is where Venus is meeting the sun halfway through the retrograde. And this is the infusion of the energy for the next 19-month Venus cycle. And what I do find is wherever that Venus star point is, wherever it lands within our chart, when we go 19 months after that point, we can look back and see something really grew to life over this 19-month period. I played with it with my own chart. I've gone back and worked with clients' charts. And it's something because Venus is, she's about fertility. She is about growth in many senses, that creative fertility principle. So I can see something wanting to grow to life for you with your Leo midheaven, your sacred contribution to the world, your creative heart offerings. Now, going back to this retrograde, how can you navigate this energy? I agree with what Nura shared earlier. I often feel a big slowdown energy because the energy of the retrograde is a slowdown energy. So it might be a time to kind of slow down if that works with the flow of your life with, 10th house things or our sacred contributions to the world. They can be professional type things as well. And then with the 9th house, this could be a time to really slow down and really connect in with your higher wisdom and your higher guidance. And maybe you're feeling like getting really perhaps quiet and still, and maybe you're feeling a call to pursue some type of higher study, higher pursuit, or maybe you're feeling called to teach something or share something, that 9th house energy. But I think having that slow down and 10th house, 9th house things could be really powerful. So you can get clear on your values. You can really connect in with your heart's desires. And so there's like this new energy to emerge as we move into this next cycle. And just an intuitive thing that's coming through is, perhaps even I see the retrogrades, they do clear out energetic blockages. So if there's something around your self-worth and really some I can sense perhaps some energetic blockage wanting to be cleared out around your self-worth, so you can really show up and shine your gifts with more vitality and more fullness of aliveness.
Yes. You want me to just jump right in? Okay. So for you, Nicole, asking just what is the highest way for you to use this whole cycle of the Venus in Leo cycle, I pulled the 8 of Pentacles. And so this is the card of meaningful work and purpose, and just really making sure that what you're doing is feeding you on the soul level. So there's another few things that I think are really important to note. So you were born into the hold on, let me double check here with my notes. You were born into, so April 3rd, I'm not going to say it out loud. So you were also born into the Capricorn cycle. So similar to the person that we just read for, you're in this sort of next level phase of what you were creating. So think back to the past year and a half. What have been the scaffolding? If we think about where Capricorn is in your natal chart, you have a lot of Capricorn. You're part of that Capricorn stellium cohort. And so building and having a project is always very important for you. If we look at how the 10th house and the midheaven share resonance with Capricorn themes, it's about building something that is true for you on the heart level. And the pentacle piece is important, as in the money, the resources, but it's not about the money. It's like, what does the money allow you to create? How does the money allow you to serve? Whose prayers do you get to answer based on the work that you do, and also based on being financially resourced? It's also a really good time to make friends and do some networking with people that are, maybe share similar goals as to how you want to grow and learn and build. That will be very important. Also noticing that this 20-degree Leo mark is also square your Pluto, and also it's pulling in your Taurus energy. So the Scorpio and Taurus fixed energy is really going to be lit up. You also have your nodal axis in Aquarius, Leo. So the whole fixed cross is being incredibly activated, which to me suggests an up-leveling in leadership. So get ready for that.
Ooh, get excited. I'm loving all these. I think I saw this on Twitter the other day too. Somebody saying that Venus retrograde can also be like a big sort of transit for people rebranding themselves and coming into like a new sort of like brand. And I'm like,
Oh,
that
I
makes sense.
totally feel that, because Venus is our marketing. So it's
Right.
like, how are you putting yourself out there? Is your message congruent with what you want to share with the world? And even if we think of brand, what are the colors? What are the images that you'd really love to have associated with yourself and what you're putting out into the world? So it's a great time for that in general. And also to have fun, to be experimental with it. Because if we think of the Venus retrograde, it's also bringing in that opposite energy of Aquarius, which is really experimental. It's, have fun with it. Put some things out there, see what the response is, and then change it if you need to. We're not stuck with one thing that we decide to create.
Sweet. Awesome. Thank you so much, Nora. All right. So I think we're running out of time. So we'll only do one more question. And this one came in from Angela. And Angela asks, hello, I have a question. I have Leo on an angle, my 7th house. I'm wondering about romantic relationship potential as a single lady open to a new relationship. I love the emoji also. Nura, do you want to get us started with this one?
Sure. Wow, Angela, you have this cycle really activating some spice, some passion for you, with your moon and Mars also involved here. And it's really fascinating because over this summer, Venus is kind of chasing Mars before Mars exits into Virgo, and then Venus kind of hangs back. So there might be a lot of this sort of action reaction, or taking some aligned action and then coming back and doing some reflection to see, well, are you receiving what you really want? based on your actions, particularly in the realm of relationships. So that might look like how you assert yourself, what you share, having fun, kind of putting out options for people, and then seeing, okay, is this actually helping to uplift me? Is it bringing me more into my heart? Is it bringing me into more alignment with my values? So I definitely can see a lot of enjoyment, a lot of new ways of seeing yourself and allowing yourself to be seen with the moon, because the moon is our self-image. The moon also helps us integrate between past, present, and future versions of ourselves. So there's something really wanting to be reformed, renewed around your self-image and how you show up in relationships, who you are. And this all comes down to how you allow yourself to be seen. So this could be a big year for visibility. And if not in a major group sense, although you also have that definitely indicated in your chart with the trining energy to the Sagittarius in your 10th house. So this could be a very big visible year for you, but it's more about those one-on-one relationships and cultivating that co-creative balance with the people around you.
Sweet. Jamie, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I love that. And I'm so resonating with everything that Nura is sharing. And yeah, this Venus retrograde going through your 7th house, Venus stations retrograde, conjunct your Mars. The Venus star point is right on your moon at 20 degrees of Leo. And then Venus retrogrades back to 12 Leo, and your descendant, it looks like it's 13 Leo here. So there are big activations for relationships. And, I see this as this, the Venus retrograde. And I think as we go into this Venus cycle, because the morning star Venus phase is about, it mirrors that myth of Inanna, right? Clearing out old stories, old narratives, conditioning, what's no longer serving us, energetic blockages as well. And this Venus and Leo cycle is so much about clearing out, where have we been holding on to perhaps some conditioning, and where have we felt maybe, this is in the Leo mysteries, right? So this Venus cycle wants to clear out things around self-worth. And so we can come into more worth and self-confidence, self-trust, self-approval, self-affirmation. So where have we maybe been looking for those things from other people, and maybe taking on identities that aren't true to our heart essence, which is what Venus is about, probably from an unconscious place. And so there's something here about really, I see this invitation here to get to show up to life and relationships of all types, one-on-one relationships of all types, but particularly the potential of new romantic partnerships coming through, and more of your authentic self, and owning your self-worth, your self-value, and your self-trust as well.
I have something
Awesome.
to add to that real quick, just
Mhm.
based on Angela's Venus cycle that she was born into, the Scorpio cycle, and that being where her Venus cycle is placed is with her Sun and her Uranus in the 9th house. So this is a square, active square between her natural way of creating, which is more of that Scorpio, maybe water element, into the fire. So it's calling on a totally different part of her. But that square is beautiful for creative tension, especially if you're able to do all the belief confrontation, which I imagine is pretty natural with Scorpio in the 9th house for you. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to investigate, and make sure that things feel aligned before you say yes to them.
Awesome. And Angela also says, I love this. I've been focusing on boundaries and relationships and getting more value out of them. So there we go. Good job, Angela. So excited for you. Sweet. And I think with that, these are going to be all the questions that we're taking today. But I did see a few questions that I think we can answer without a chart. And I'm going to see if I can pull them up here. But I can't remember. But I can't find it. There's too many comments. But somebody asked, is it different? Is the Venus retrograde different if you have Venus retrograde in your chart? Do you experience that differently, and if so, how?
I would say yes, because it's natural resonance. It's what the signature is that's in your natal chart that you were born with. So you might actually find it to be more natural, more easeful, and witnessing that people around you, especially because Venus's relationships, that you're actually even able to relate with them a little bit better, because you'll have an awareness of how to work with Venus retrograde energy that, you know, the rest of the population doesn't have. So people might actually be looking to you for that, you know, heart-centered support while they're deconstructing their values and looking at what else they get to create relationally. So I would say definitely.
Oh, wow. Jamie, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just really agree with what Nura says. And if you're born with Venus retrograde, you may naturally be kind of a midwife, someone who moves between spaces and is really perhaps like a midwife in relationships, someone that is here to be a guide to support people through transformation and within their own relationship with self as well. And so, yeah, it could be a powerful time for you.
That's
Sweet.
amazing. I love that, the being the midwife. Genius.
Right? You
Yeah.
both together are the best combo.
I
I'm like,
love
I want to
Nura
do this every day.
so much.
Oh
Yeah,
my
this was
God.
really fun. Thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, of course. And
It's so
for
fun to be with you, Joe.
oh, thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure. And for those of you who just loved Jamie and loved Nura, and you sent in a question and didn't get answered, you still can book a reading with them. To book a reading with Jamie, you just have to go to astrologyhub.com/Goldstein Connect. And if you don't know how to spell Goldstein, you can see it on the screen right now. Or if you're just listening to the replay on the podcast, it's in the show description as well. And if you want to book a reading with Nura, it is astrologyhub.com/Nura Connect. And if you want to see all of the astrologers on Astrologer Connect, it is astrologyhub.com/connect. And don't forget that next week also from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, you can call an astrologer at any point of the day, and there's going to be someone there to answer your questions. And if you make it quick enough, you might not even need to pay for it. How much of a gift is that? Sweet. So I think that is it for today. Happy Venus retrograde for everybody. If you didn't get your question featured in today's episode, please also go to the form at astrologyhub.com/insight, where you can submit your question in advance, and it gives you a higher chance to get featured. But with that, Jamie, Nura, is there any parting words you'd like to leave the audience with today?
I'm just sending a big hug. I just hope you have a lot of fun. Allow in more love, more life, and just have a good time the best you can.
Awesome.
I love that. And I feel like with this Venus retrograde, just a great invitation is to really see ourselves through the eyes of love, like to see ourselves through our higher self. So there's an invitation to kind of see ourselves from that perspective as we begin to embrace more of our self-worth and our self-value.
Right. Awesome. I love that. I have tons of planets in Leo, and I'll definitely take that as an advice. All right, guys. Have a great week. Have a great Venus retrograde cycle, and I will see you on the next episode. Oh, and next episode is actually with Clarissa Dolphin and I forget, Michelle Dench, and we'll be talking about relationships and family dynamics. So give us the drama. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.